This is just kind of hitting me, but here we are in the fifth and final game. So we've had 4 games already played. Unless I'm missing, I think Hellborn's won every single game. I'm pretty sure.
They have.
4-0.
Yeah.
So BMG, they're going to win this one. No
Statistically proven, yes, they are going to win.
Why even play it? Yeah. No. So obviously, it's interesting. The interesting thing, really, on top of that, is that Stay Green actually chose Legion the first game. They won the role.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I mean, in NK we preferred Legion as well in terms of because it's easier to draft. We felt the Legion always has an advantage in the drafting stage, but yeah, that's actually a really interesting stat. But then again, nobody's picked Chronos or Moon Queen, so I don't know.
Maybe this is where it happens.
Yes, please.
Puppet Master, the first pick. Pharaoh, the response. Torture coming out, so we're already well moving along here. Sir Bensington, Parasite, Pestilence, Ophelia, the band.
I feel like it's been the same for the last couple of games.
Yeah.
And nobody's picking Tempest.
Yeah. Interesting. And they go Engineer this early.
Both teams want Legio.
Yeah. the new jungler of choice. They are like thinking Solstice over there. So maybe that's secret weapon.
I was talking to Hanskin, I think 2 days ago, and he was like, "Yeah, this hero really does seem legit." I think I was playing some TMM and he was spectating, and he was like, "That actually, that hero seems like it could work." Probably wouldn't pick it in the first 3 though, but we'll see.
Well, yeah, we'll see what that final pick is before the next tier of bans. Stay Green though, not taking a jungler themselves just yet. They go Bubbles in the end on top of the Torturer Puppet Master. Still a very strong
they're running
start.
the same lineup again, it looks like.
That is, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah.
They had Legionnaire and Kraken last game, so will they
Kraken
get the
most
same?
probably going to be banned, though.
Probably.
Yeah.
Legionnaire ban? Probably not.
Seems unlikely.
Crazy
things has happened, though.
They certainly have. Drunken Master. All right. So that's a low finish here. Why do you think they valued the Engineer here this game all of a sudden?
I don't know. I feel like normally when you draft, you want to pick your support hero in the first 3 picks, simply because you don't want to give away every single one of your lanes. And it looks like neither of the teams were interested in picking a jungler early, so picking Engineer just keeps the options open. It's more so not wanting to give away what we might pick, or like they want to keep their options open, and that's why they pick it early.
Yeah.
More than fear of Stay Green picking it up.
All right. So into the next tier bands now. Slither so far coming out here for these bands.
Yeah. I'm not really sure about BMG and Drunken Master. I don't feel like it's a hero that I'd think of. Like when I think of Drunken Master, I think of Denial more so than BMG. I don't really feel like it's a hero they run a lot. So
yeah,
maybe a little bit on tilt and kind of changing up their draft a little bit. I know this is something that happens very easily when you're, especially in a best of 5 series, I think, because you're like, oh, we just lost with the heroes that we feel like we normally do good with. We got to change our lineup. That's the problem. Whereas, for example, last game, it really came down to execution. The first blood at the start of the game, just really, really poorly played by them. And then it felt like they kind of tilted as the game got unpaused later on as well. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, no, a little bit of a weird pick on their end, I feel.
Yeah, no, I am. When you do think of the top teams, these 3, BMG, Sync, Stay Green, that throw Reason in there, and obviously Team NK even to an extent, but it's, you don't think Drunken Master from BMG. I do agree with that there, but we'll see how they're able to make it work. Again, will Super KGE end up playing it, or will it be in maybe Fuzi's hands, or even Jonas a fan, but these bands, Slither, Warbeast, Rhapsody, Pebbles, Tempest coming out, so Tempest does eventually get banned. There's a jungle option there.
Kraken's still on the board. Last ban for Hanskin. He bans Andro. Okay, wow. I feel like he's kind of misread Stay Green strategy, but we'll see here.
Misread the strategy, a.k.a. we did this last game.
Yeah. No, but I just don't see Andro. I mean, Andrew's good against Pharaoh, and it's okay against NG, I suppose. But, I don't know. It's just the hero I don't feel really fits the meta game unless you're running like a Moon Queen. who just needs basically they can like single-handedly just output the damage.
Yeah.
Nowadays, the heroes that you see is like every single hero has a big impact in terms of damage early on its own, and Andro just isn't that hero. She's really just that late game support who provides the aura with a ton of damage, Aurora for control, map control, warding, just more of a economy kind of support hero. Whereas these games normally get decided much earlier than that.
Well, there you go. Kraken coming out, so pretty much a mirror of last game. Legionnaire was that final pick last time for Stay Green, so will it be the same here, or will they switch that up at least?
No, it needs to be. I'm calling Doctor Repulsor Jungle. I feel it.
Doctor Repulsor Jungle. That's just weird. I'm gonna call Chipper Jungle then.
Chipper Jungle. Oh yeah, that's really good because the rockets can't hit creeps.
Yeah, about that.
So like when you're farming, you can hit heroes instead. Nah. Anyways, Glacius from BMG. They're running double support. They gotta pick a hard carry here, but the problem is they kind of pick Drunken Master. When you don't really want like a Moon Queen and a Drunken Master on the same lineup, there's no real synergy. Drunken Master is going to need some time to recover. Moon Queen is just going to want to farm. And you're not really going to have the lockdown that you want. So, I don't know. It's a little bit of a weird draft by BMG.
Yeah.
But, hey, they're Hellborn, so...
That's true. Hellborn 4-0 this series, so they got that going for them at least. Yeah, no, you definitely feel like that Stay Green, though. They're obviously very comfortable with their lineup. They just ran it last game, and it worked out beautifully. Depending on this final pick here, it might actually be all 5 of the same hero. So even with 4 to the 5, though, and similar strategy at least, you call it Dr. Repulsor Jungler. Hey, I'm going to say Solstice, actually, just because.
No. In all seriousness, I don't think they're going to run a jungler. If they do, it's probably going to be Keeper because you're going up against a double support. That is Engineer Glacius, and it's really hard to deal with. Actually, yeah, there we go. They go over the Bushwhack, and this is going to be a Puppet Master support.
Huh. Yeah. Brought that up last game.
Yeah, and this is the strength of a lineup like this from Swinamels. He has so many different options. He's really not limited at all in terms of what he can and what he cannot go for. But it'll be interesting to see how BMG decides to respond. Bushwhack is a hero that farms extremely fast, and you need to keep that in mind that if you let him, he is a Moon Queen. He will get huge, and he'll get huge super fast.
Yeah.
I think I actually met up with Chessie last week, and he was talking about how fast this hero farms Ancients, and just the power of he cleans them so fast and so early. He feels like the hero is stronger than Draconis in terms of that. So, a lot of Ancient stacks to be expected this game.
Yeah, no, there's been cases, like videos of him where he's at 1,000 gold per minute in scrims, and even just I want to say it was last week against Reason Gaming, the Challenger fight actually last week. Stay Green, they actually played it against them, and we did see him do very well once again against them. So yeah, no doubt this hero has that farming potential, most certainly coming at you. Forsaken Archer gonna be the final pick. Yeah,
has to be a tri-lane. There's just no reason to pick Forsaken Archer otherwise. They have a really strong tri-lane as well. They got Glacius, Engineer, and FA. That is so much damage. And I don't know, Stay Green, I feel like Stay Green is the kind of team that Minot's complaining about not having a jungler.
Yeah. Well, at least he gets to play Torture. It's not like he's playing the Puppet Master support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it has to be a tri-lane. That's basically BMG's best bet, and I'm sure. But here comes the mind games. Whenever you have 2 support heroes, and you're like, okay, yeah, they have to tri-lane. That's the only viable way for them to set up these lanes. It becomes the mind games. Okay, but we're gonna dodge, or are we gonna dodge? Are we gonna match up? Are they gonna dodge? Are they faking the long lane tri-lane and then running a short lane instead because they think we're thinking that they're thinking that we're tri-laning, and it just becomes this huge mess. So it's kind of hard to predict, but I think the long lane tri-lane with Jonas in the short lane and Pharaoh mid is going to be the setup from BMG. And I think and hope that Stay Green dodges. I just don't think they're strong enough to match against it.
Well, okay, so initially they are setting the Bushwhack puppet down here. Yeah, again, Puppet Master support too. Again, we kind of touched the last game, the possibility, and sure enough, there the next game we see it. His skill set does speak for being very powerful in terms of a support hero with the puppet show and with the puppets hold, of course. So if in a case like this where he is playing the pure support, I think it's safe to say he's just going to pass up Whiplash altogether and max out both the Q and the W here and get the long durations on those abilities. Unlike a carry Puppet Master who would be maxing out the Whiplash most likely. Earlier on in the game. So that's something to keep in mind as well as far as that support potential here from him. But, yeah, here we go. They are going to send the aggressive trial lane as called. And Stay Green, though, it doesn't look like they're going to really have anything to address this off the bat at least other than, well, them three are going to go into it. So, but you were pretty adamant, though. It seems like this is definitely going to be a favor for BMG here.
Oh, yeah.
If this is the case.
BMG, they have the better carry. They have the better supports. They're going to have the better positioning because they have – normally in the tri-lane versus tri-lane situation, whoever is able to control this left side to the lane is going to come out on top.
Yeah.
And considering the fact that they have stronger support heroes and they have this war down, they're going to be able to keep control of the side really, really easily if they wanted to. But no, Chessie actually even rotating over there to secure the kill on the ward.
Yeah, making sure to take care of that ward aside ASAP. So long for that vision over there. On their side, they do rev for the pole camp though. But look at Z-Freak, he's scouting it out. He's not going to be able to find that though.
No man,
unless it gets
you can't find Hanskin's wards. He's the king of warding, man. That's why
really
even bother.
Yeah, so it's not going to be found, and that's going to still block. So good placement there from Hanskin to say the least, playing the engineer.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think in terms of experience though, I mean the Stay Green players, all of them. Played during the tri-lane era, so they're a little bit more experienced in this tri-lane versus tri-lane situation. It's a little bit different from dual lanes, and that could come to hurt BMG a little bit, but they should be just fine. They're all amazing players, and they have a really strong tri-lane. They just gotta catch someone. It's a 3 range versus 3 range, so neither team should be able to get especially much farm. It's like completely impossible to try and get farm on your carry. Everybody just goes for the last hits, as you can tell.
It's like
we got pretty much 5 auto attacks in the air.
Throw it out and whatever pops up, lucky them, basically.
Exactly.
Mana batteries also definitely tend to be very important in matchups like this, so going to keep an eye on the mana battery pickups from either side. See when and if that comes out. Obviously, they both have Guardian Rings, both of their carries, Forsaken Archer and Bushwhack, to eventually form that Ring of the Teacher. Another very important item to pick up. So, again, expecting action down there, in the near future. Maybe they'll really start to pick up. But real quickly, while it hasn't yet, let's take a look at the other lanes here. Bubbles versus Pharaoh. Middle lane, Bubbles 10-3. Pharaoh's 8-0. And then you got the top lane. You have a Kraken versus the Dragon Master back to the bottom lane, though. Here we go, though. Yep, Bushwhack going to be at the front lines. Glacius taking some good damage right here. That Kex on a pushback Bushwhack, but it doesn't matter. Glacius will fall. Maybe it does matter. However, no, Engineer going a little bit too well deep right here. And now he's in trouble, actually. He is going to be turned on. And down goes Hanskin, so a little bit too much tunnel vision. And, in fact, Forsaken Archer is also taking some good damage before finally getting back and using the health potion. So, well, Stay Green showing off their power here.
Yeah, that was so sloppy played by BMG. Glacius got the freeze off, but FA missed the volley onto Chessie. And then they were simply just able to turn that around. And meanwhile, in the middle lane, Melons is caught really, really deep.
Yeah.
Super KG got his bottle delivered as Swindle was diving him.
Oh, okay.
And,
Got you, yeah. So kind of caught that kind of halfway through. But, yeah, no, that makes a little more sense. So clearly he thought he had a certain kill, but as he even puts it on. Kind of throwing it right there. Meanwhile, back to the bottom lane again. This time the execution a little better here from BMG, and it will successfully set up the kill. So it goes to show you, if they are going to be able to execute appropriately, that it could be an easy kill. Granted, Puppet Master wasn't there while that happened, but even more of a reason why they should have initiated, which they did. So good catch from BMG.
Yeah, definitely. And now Fuzi has boots, so he should not be able to miss any more volleys. And they're getting level 3 on their heroes too. And the more levels they get, the more powerful this lane gets from the side of BMG.
Yeah.
Puppet Master just simply doesn't provide any damage at all in this trial lane, and his Puppeteer's hold this game is just not going to be that impactful in a 3v3 lane where every hero is going to be auto-attacking as soon as initiation happens. So basically a non-factor ability.
Jonas Fan falling very low right here at the top lane. He does get some regen delivered, though, and going to use that to boost back up. But it seemed like Kraken's doing quite a bit of pressure, to say the least. Bottom lane again. No, missing some initiation right there. And in the end, nothing was follow-up. Back to the top lane, though, again. Drunken Master versus the Kraken. Drunken is 28-2, though, against the Kraken, who's 23-3. So Drunken is having the better time when it comes to the creep.
Is he going to die, though?
What's that, out the top
He gets
lane?
caught up
Yeah.
top. Kraken ulti was used, but a little bit of misplacement from them, but it's going to be enough.
Yeah.
Manages to block Jonas until he gets to splash it up and just secures that one.
Well, so much for that praise. Yeah, no, Jonas Fan getting picked off right there. And kind of, not that that farm's all gone out the door by any means, but that does hurt. And more so for Stay Green, though, Lemp is definitely going to really be able to benefit off of that with that kill himself. So, good start there.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like they're going to be going. Yeah, they're coming around the backside. Bushwhack did lunge in right there. They're following up an Engineer, but actually Kexa's going to be coming out. Tormented Soulflight, and actually Puppet Master will be picked off. And now Torch is in a horrible spot. He does end a big chain of reactions. Will it be enough damage? So Pharaoh comes in with the Wrath of Pharaoh, and it finishes off Torturer. You see Bushwhack is just going to fall back to safety. So, in fact, he might go for a turn kill here, actually. Bugman Walls come up, and that will be the end of the chase, though. They do have Bubbles coming in, however. He does have a kill. Oh, he completely whiffs it. He randomly threw it into the jungle, hoping that it would catch a Forsaken Archer, but he already had cut his way through. And he survived. So, sloppy play coming out right there.
Very greedy from Swinamelons. And, I mean, he did just throw middle, and this is a really tilty player. He makes one mistake. He normally follows it up with another, so not too surprising. But
that came out right there.
Yeah.
But, oh my God, they're diving big time again, and Bubbles again going to be turned after a tower. You were not kidding, man. It is just snowballing all negative here for Swinamelons, unfortunately for Stay Green. But Torturer will survive, though, as he barely gets away. But yeah, big tower dive results in a death on Bubbles and no kill on Forsaken Archer in the end. So a little bit of extra taunt coming out even.
yeah.
Kind of keep him there. Kraken, though, he's the shining star here so far for Stay Green. He ain't making mistakes. He's looking strong here once again at the top lane. Does he need to be involved?
Sorry?
Does he need to be involved? Does he need to go bottom, maybe?
It's hard to say. If he leaves top, it's gonna give Drunken Master a lot of space to just farm. It's really on Swindle to make the plays here. He's really the playmaker. He has the bubbles. He's got level 6. He has the kelp field, and he is making the movement happen. It's just Swinamel's, after he's made one mistake, is just not the same players as he is before.
Yeah.
Top, here we go. Misses Shell Surf. Gonna use the kelp field anyways.
Yeah, and the Song of the Sea misses as well.
Oh
Release of Kraken going to be coming out, lunging right there. And Drunken Master going to survive for now. Will it be that way in the end? Port is coming in. Yes, he is going to go on the outskirts. The Creep's also helping right here. Bubbles again dropping very low. We do see he is going to be very low to the point. It's actually Super KG has Wrath of the Pharaoh ready to go, but he's instead going to trap Kraken right here. Bubbles maybe trying to get some tower aggro to help keep Kraken alive, but Kraken's going to end up falling most likely. He jukes it just, but no, the Wrath of the Pharaoh will finish him off. Bubbles coming in. Nice lunge or stagger from Drunken Master right there to avoid Shell Surf. And now Swindle is in trouble again. Song of the Sea nuke. Oh, the power supply! Holy crap! What a turn. And meanwhile, at the bottom lane, apparently Seal Kid decides to get a hat trick. I mean, wow.
Those were some huge plays from Jonas. So talk about a quality series. Last game we had, 2 games ago, we had Chessie with the Wolves down at bottom.
Yeah.
And now Jonas using the drink to survive the auto attack and the Shell Surf.
Jeez.
And then the power supply at the last second there to avoid death from Bubbles' auto attack. Huge plays coming out from Jonas and Fan right there.
Yeah, so as much tilt as you want to talk about, or just honestly, again, not the best decision making in the end. There was a lot of just good plays, as you said it too. It's like that was more, I think, Jonas and Fan making some big plays than anything in that situation. But yeah, and then meanwhile, obviously, he's still distracted by the top lane, all that crazy action. Silken picks up a hat trick at the bottom lane. So clearly, all across the board, looking very strong there for BMG. And exactly, it's the Hellborn advantage clearly coming into play here. Yeah, they're working off of that middle lane again. Pharaoh trying to finish off Bubbles, but he's going to barely live. As a torment, it's still not enough to finish him off. But yeah, you could just see all across the map. I mean, maybe other than the top lane for now, but you got control here from Bad Monkey Gaming. Super KG level 9, by the way, on Pharaoh already, so he is strong start.
Yeah, he was really, really suffering during the laning phase. I was keeping an eye on middle. But after that kill that he got bottom when he hooked it, he's just really been able to snowball off of it.
Oh.
And now Minus caught.
Yep, Torture gets caught out. They're going to turn on a handskin. Also, 1-for-1 exchange. Bushwhack kind of lunging or sidestepping in right there. Even he gets out with the crippling volley, though. And he will end up flying. No, pass block because a big release on Kraken. And Bubbles comes in with a double tap with that Saga the Senior to finish him off. Farrell's still chasing. He really wants to skull on Bushwhack. He has a Tormented Soul up. It wouldn't be enough damage to sit. He needs to get close enough. Mummy Walls are ready, but no, he cannot do it. Bushwhack just a little bit too much on the outskirts. There goes the Mummy Wall. He does have Hellfire, but again, the Puppet Show comes out. He is most likely going to be finished off. Yes, he will. So the dive big time from Pharaoh does not pay off right there in the end. So, you know, just as much as we're talking about State Green overextending a little bit, BMG definitely doing quite a bit themselves right there. And State Green having the numbers.
Yeah, that was a little bit split targeting. If they would have communicated a little bit better in that fight, they could have been able to come out much better. But Pharaoh hooks in on a creep and then tries to run down the Puppet Master, whereas his team is fighting somewhere else. Oh no.
That's awkward. Keg's done. Definitely not the prettiest Keg's done right there, and that's just a case of, again, communication, really. Keg's done always an awkward ability like that. There are cases such as that right there where it was definitely more of a deterrence than anything, but that was a beautiful Keg's done on the other hand. So in a sense, it kind of makes up for it right there, and Bushwhack is picked off. And they're going to push in the tower. And actually, Torture's going to be spotted with the Tormented Soul. The turret damage, will it be enough? No, it won't, but actually the chase is successful. As, Glacius finishes him off with Thunder Blast. And now, Puppet Master. That's a support puppet, remember. Wrath of the Pharaoh cuts him off, and he will end up falling. And now Bubbles is kind of lingering around. He does have a kill fit. He's going to use it right there. Hit all 3. Kraken is nearby. Has his ultimate not up just yet, actually. That's 15 more seconds, so going to stall from there, but... We are getting a crazy final game here in Senia, as far as action goes.
Definitely. I mean, something to think about in best of fives is, like, it's a long series, and it's a lot of Han games that you have to play. And normally, you get a lot of rest between your games. You get to freshen up your head, and you get to refresh. And I think in the 5th game, it's not I'm not surprised that there's so many misplays and so much overextending going on, because you are drained. You're not as fresh as you would be right after a new series.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, no, a lot of very aggressive plays from both sides going on right now.
Yeah, again, it's a spectator. Hey, we love it. Definitely not the prettiest plays by any means, but exactly, we have 23 hero kills and just coming up to 12 minutes now. So that's a very, very good amount of hero kills per minute here in game number 5 to finish things off. So again, though, right now the big picture, though, Bad Monkey Gaming, they do have the advantage. I mean, so you look at the items, how are they progressing here? Drunken Master, nearly 1,600 gold saved up. You win a lot of build-up here. Blood Chalice, Power Supply, Ghost Martyrs. Top lane, they are going for a kill, it looks like. Big dive coming out, but no, Drunken just going to clear up the creep wave. Pharaoh's going to spot him with a Torment Soul. Will he go for the catch again? The Tsunami Charge makes it kind of awkward. So he will put the Mummy Walls up, but yeah, actually right here, he might be in some trouble now. But at least Crack going to pull him in, though. Kelvin on top of that. Song of the Sea coming out. And now Torture is here for assistance. Pharaoh's end up going to be picked off. And now Drunken Master is going to be gone on. Will it be enough for the kill? No, it won't. Energy Field coming out from Engineer to help keep them away. And a beautiful turn on top of that, actually. So Bushwhack cannot end up chasing them down. They should be able to deny the tower. But minimal casualties in the end. Everyone is here from State Green. No, well, minus Puppet Master, actually, who's in his own jungle. But they do get the 1 kill at least. And they're going to spread out from there. But I think I just saw Soul's Bulwark purchased on Drunken, by the way. Yes.
Oh, Fuzi.
Fuzi, what are you doing, Fuzi? Oh, jeez. Awkward.
Awkward.
Yeah, the
game 5, man. It's game 5.
It really is. I think that has a lot to do with you just sitting right there. And you know, in a sense, that there is kind of that. I mean, you have plenty of Latin experience yourself, and it can be a draining experience, especially if depending on the schedule is, you know, back-to-back games and everything. So
I think it's different at LAN though.
True.
I think it's very different at LAN, because at LAN you're so pumped, you're so hype, and like every game feels like it matters so much. When you're sitting at home in front of your computer, it's just like, oh, this is just another TMM game. Who really cares if we lose, if we get a bad start? You know, it's just especially in this kind of an event. I think after 4 games, like between State Green and BMG especially, these such tight games and such small things. I think we've noted during every game, like this was the small thing that made a difference this time. I think they're just both really, really drained at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, that's fair. So that's understandable. So, in the end, kind of keeping that in mind here. And like I said, it is entertaining, so not complaining by any means. In the end, as far as just fun to watch at least. So, But again, the item progression here, you got Energizer finished on Forsaken Archer. Helm of the Black Legion just finished on Kraken. So has that kind of bulked up. Now, Bushwhack is still looking for some time to get the farm going. He's working on an Energizer. There's quite a bit of stacks here in the jungle, and actually he's making the best of that with his teammates here. So some good support coming out. Bushwhack, definitely one of these heroes that can farm up the jungle pretty well. You kind of compared it to that Draconis, even better in some states when it comes to his farming and whatnot. So using that right here to its advantage.
Yeah, and as soon as he hits level 11, that's just going to escalate even faster. And he's sitting at 280 GPM now. It's 15 minutes into the game. I think in another 10 minutes, he's probably going to be, like, probably have that doubled, I'd assume. If they're allowed to farm, if he's allowed to farm. He needs a lifesteal mask, though, on top of the Energizer that he's already working on.
Oh, top lane. Kraken barely poured it out in time. The release of Kraken helped him a little bit to kind of delay Drunken Master. Drunken staggered on top of him. He went to lunge. The cooldown was actually used. But by the time he could get the stun off of it, it was already poured out for Kraken. So in the meantime, Pharaoh actually ran into the middle lane. He ran into a trap right there. And he eventually gets picked off. Forsaken Archer, crippling volley. That's going to miss. Split shot going around right there. Energy field coming down from Engineer. Kex on top of that. Trying to get the support in time. Piercing arrows doing a bit of damage right here on a Kraken, actually, but it's not going to be enough. He is too tanky. In the meantime, they will pick off Galatius. In comes Drunken Master, though. Gets the one pick on a Bushwhack. Gets that two on a Puppet Master. And now he's going for Kraken as well as Bubbles, and they're just going to have to fall back because he is pretty dangerous. Torture is still nearby as well, but it looks like that'll be the end of that exchanging going on.
Great fight in favor of Stay Green. And I just remembered, speaking of LAN, the Glacius Engineer combination, you saw it right there. They do so much damage together. Everything that gets caught in the Engineer field is almost guaranteed to get hit by the Glacial Downpour. And it's really hard to avoid the damage there, too, because you're kind of locked into that field, and the ulti's just pouring down on you. So it's a really, really strong combination of the double support heroes. I remember we ran it in TDM, actually, against RNG Sports in our semifinals long, long time ago. So, yeah, no. That's a funny note there.
Yeah,
it's a really strong support combo.
It's as far as the ultimate synergy goes for support heroes especially, it's probably some of the strongest out there. So, most certainly good potential there to come out. Drunken Master, he's still rolling around here. He wants to find somebody, and he might get that present, but it doesn't want to go too far. There's obviously
a lot of Stay Green heroes here, so they good decision to back off. They know that Stay Green's probably going to go for the Ancients here. Seal Kid tries to scan ward up there, but the ward is hiding behind the trees. Spotting them out, though. They're securing the Ancients for them. And Chessie's actually running really, really deep for Jonas.
Yeah. They know
he's here.
The
jukes.
Yeah, they know he's here. There's a release of Kraken. He's going to be pulled in, and Jonas Van is going to be picked off. Good start for them, and actually Glacius now hanging around a little bit too long. They're going to try to cut them off out to the side. Pharaoh goes in. Kegstun hits as well from Engineer. Gets the energy filled up, but now Forsaken Archer. He's just trying to run this whole time. He can't do a whole lot of damage. Piercing arrows does go through. They pick off the support Puppet Master, but in the end, Forsaken Archer in trouble, and he will be picked off as Song of the Sea finishes him. Bushwhack, he's still well alive, and Engineer actually needs to be careful about that, although Drunken Master is nearby. He bought back, by the way, which is why he's back in this fight ready to go, and actually he's trying to cut off Bushwhack. Will he be able to, actually? He's going the long way around, but no, Chessie should be fine. As, not going to go all the way over there. So another good fight for Stay Green in the end, but their Ancients are going to be stolen here, maybe. I mean, Sotomayor is able to get a couple of Ancients right there, if not one or two, but...
He actually got none. Really unlucky there. So BMG is at least going to get all of those Ancients.
Yeah.
Which is good for them. But overall, game's looking pretty even. It's kind of hard to give any team an advantage when it's so chaotic as it is right now. It's just so many misspells all over the place. Impossible to judge who's going to come out on top in the end.
Yeah. So, 18.5 minutes in, and I remember when it was like 10-4 BMG, and now it's 18-17 Stay Green. So it's just a lot of just back and forth in this game, and just pretty chaotic here. And as you said, I think it's a great point. There's really no way to gauge, where this game is ultimately going to end up in terms of how it's been going. But I will say Bushwhack, he is working on that Whispering Helm now, so we see that GPM starting to rise here. And now 330 gold per minute here.
I mean, FA's a little bit in her prime right now. She's level 11. She has an Energizer. She wants Ayasha, ideally. I mean, Firebrand to ideally get to the best point of her game, really. But from this point onward, she's really going to start fading off compared to the Bushwhack, who's just going to get stronger and stronger as his mobility increases. and his ability to farm increases as well.
Yeah. Engineer living life on the edge here. He's kind of pushing out the bottom lane by himself. I mean, yes, he is kind of near his tower, but this is a support engineer. He gets caught. He's definitely dead, and that's probably going to happen right here. Yeah, especially going this far. I don't really see why he's thinking that's going to be a good idea. He is going to get caught out, and he will eventually be picked off right here. So Bushwhack, easy chase onto him, and actually allows him to finish off the Whispering Helm off into the side after that pickoff. So good sequence of events. Here we go to the Ancients, though, on the Hellborn team. Piercing arrows used right there, and Forsaken, as you mentioned, kind of at that prime spot here. Going to finish these off, and, well, ideally finish these off. Finish that Firebrand and go from there, getting a little bit of support and getting close to death, actually, but he will be able to kill them in the end and go from there. So going to have that finished off, and that'll be good for the Hellborn team. I keep seeing this Puppet Master. Looking at this, I'm like, he has bad items, but then it's a support Puppet Master, so not too surprising. Oh, top lane, Glacius going to be caught right here. This should be a free kill. Yep, Talbot especially forcing the stun and damage and just getting the kill on top of that. Drunken Master, though, he does continue to be the top farmer.
Yeah, no, he is really their little glimmer of hope right now, I feel. Even though it doesn't look that bad right now, Kraken just finished up a Blink Dagger. Bubbles is getting pretty close to his own portal key. And there's just really not... I don't know what it is. It's just something about the Hellborn lineup that just makes me feel so meh. I think it's the FA hero as a whole. Like, unless you really, really dominate early game, she just doesn't provide that much damage in terms of just raw physical auto attacks. And her carry potential really comes from the magic damage from the ult. And in order for that to be a big factor, you gotta win those early game fights. And since there hasn't really been any organized 5 versus 5 fights, she's really not had the biggest impact on the game.
Well, no, I see where you're coming from, because a big thing. Well, okay, they do have a mummy wall, so I was gonna say they are kind of lacking that catching people in an AOE and like a Tempest ultimate and keeping the forest root, something like that, where that's where the piercing arrows really shine. So I mean, mummy wall is good, but usually that's one, if maybe 2 heroes at the most, and so it's not the most ideal, but it is still good synergy nonetheless. But yeah, so maybe it's a little bit of that. In the end, though. Who was that? Glacius got picked off, obviously. He was trying to get away, but again falls to... That was Kraken that got him.
Yeah, I actually got whispered by Swindamels. He says, Limp on Kraken is hilarious. He says, can we get him? Can we? Can we go? Team, can we go? I got him. Never mind.
Never mind. I'll just take care of myself. Yeah, he's...
Yeah. So yeah, I'm pretty sure both teams are having... They're probably not in their biggest try-hard moment right now.
No, I...
It seems like they're relaxing a little bit and just having fun with it. But yeah, no, it's a very good point that you bring up, actually. There is no real synergy between FA and the other heroes. I suppose they're thinking the engineer field, but and this is kind of what I talked about. The Drunken Master and a hard carry on the same lineup, it feels like something's missing. If that would have been a Moon Queen instead of the FA, as he had the option, and then maybe something else instead of the Drunken, amazing lineup. Instead, I feel like they ended up with this kind of a half-assed lineup where it's it's good heroes, but they just don't fit together really well. There's just no synergy. But hey, they are Hellborn, so you never know.
That going for them. And actually, the true Hellborn advantage, they're going to go for Congo right here, but actually here comes Kraken. Limp with a perfect timing, really. Energy field comes down. Kraken is caught in the midst of it. Bushwhack is here, but now Pharaoh jumping in. Drunken Master right on top of him. Bushwhack's going to start melting away, but he is able to sidestep out. In comes the kelp field. You see Drunken Master has a shrunken head up, but Bushwhack's going to be able to cut on the outskirts, and Stay Green just absolutely taking this fight. So although Limp is dead, he was a huge part of the success right there, no doubt. Drunken Master is going to eventually fall. There was a buyback on Forsaken Archer, actually. Not sure about that either. I mean, if anything, she just wants to delay the Congo and try to distract them, but she needs to worry about surviving, and that's not going to happen. So she's going to fall again, and now Congo is going to be picked off by Stay Green. So, yeah, that is planned.
And you know what? I said at 15 minutes that in 10 minutes, Jesse's probably going to have double this GPM, and he's close. He needs another 50 to go, and he has another minute. So
he can do it.
I feel like I'm calling it. I'm calling it.
You are calling it perfect. No, level 17 Bushwhack here. Yeah, it's again Limp starting that fight off right there. if anything, kind of distracted them from going to finish off Conger to obviously buying enough time for his teammates to get in there and eventually finish off the job. Bushwhack also did a great job. I thought he was dead, actually. As soon as Drunken Master jumped on him, I thought for sure he was dead. But no, he had Sidestep, a very strong tool, and using that to escape.
It's just the strength of the hero. He's so mobile. With the Energizer that you go for, and then he goes for the Firebrand as well, the hero just becomes really, really hard to deal with. He has super long range on his Q. His ulti allows him to always stay on you. It's poison that gives you vision, which is like the biggest deal in terms of his carry potential. He's just always able to hit you. It's very similar to when a hero gets Savage Mace. You no longer have to worry about misses. Uphills don't matter anymore. You're just able to sit on a target and hit him down until they're dead. And I think that's one of the Bushwhack's biggest strengths in terms of his carry potential. So
yeah,
he almost always gets damage out in team fights.
Yeah, he does have a lot of armor too. 21.7 armor, I think it was. Yeah, 21.7 with the agility steam boost on top of that. So. Yeah,
oh my god.
Yeah, what's this over here? Pharaoh catches Bubbles, actually. He just shell surfed recently, and it should be enough for the kill. Yes, take cover, Kelfield, everything used right there trying to survive, but it wasn't going to happen. Yeah, see, eventually.
Yeah, that was like a 30-second chase up top.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Limp was up there too, and like the Engineer auto attack was in the air as he got the blink off into the trees and was able to TP out. And Swindlemels manages to tablet away from Drunken Master's lunge at the same time as he jumps him, so a lot of things going in SG's favor there, but in the end, Swindle does get picked off.
But they get some response out of it. Pharaoh is going to be picked in the middle lane. Limp leading the way again. Portal King in, easy Tsunami charge, and then Bushwhack and Puppet Master providing plenty of damage. Bushwhack gonna sidestep right there out of the crippling volley. Piercing arrows going through, doing minimal damage. Oh, Puppet Master will be picked off. Again, that is a support Puppet Master, though, so not the biggest deal in the world here for the Hellborn team. And now Bushwhack's going to be jumped. He does have a token to life. He uses the sidestep right there. Kraken, he misses the charge this time around. And now he's going to be locked down. Release Kraken on top of Glacius. Bubbles coming to the last second. Drunken Master gets completely turned on right there. Bushwhack really showing his damage potential once again. Double tap for Chessie. They kill the energy field, and they're just going to take out this middle tower. So it seemed like BMG, again, might have had some hope there that fight. Never mind. They did not. Bushwhack too strong, and even with the Kraken whiff there on the Tsunami charge, able to do too much in the end. He does have a Searing Light finish, by the way, too. So, and, well, there's your Symbol of Rage on top of it.
Yeah, he's 560 GPM now.
There you go.
It's just continuing to rise, and he's just so farmed. Minuts has a a puzzle box on the second support Torturer, who's also really, really farmed now.
Jeez, yeah.
They just don't have all the resources. Yeah, the GGs come out a little bit earlier. They don't want to play it out. The resources definitely in favor of Stay Green, and the likelihood of BMG coming back very, very small here.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Overall, a really poorly executed Game 5.
What are you talking about? That was the best game we've ever had. No.
It was fun to watch. But in terms of Han quality, I hope there were no Dota players or League of Legends top-tier players coming to watch us and judge our play.
Yeah. That would not be the game for that, that's for sure. But
that would not be the game to watch, I agree.
We know, though, we're all better than the Dota 2 and League of Legends community anyway,
true,
so that's really what matters.
True.
Anyway, so obviously that is going to do it there. Stay Green does take the series 3-2. So, again, a fun game definitely to finish things off on in terms of action. Definitely not the most top of the line in terms of just quality play, but still, as we're talking about, it was damn entertaining. So props to both teams once again for putting on a good show here because, again, especially with this King of the Hill event, ultimately it really is for the entertainment of the fans and the community and everything. And I think the teams get that and definitely doing their part to make sure that comes through. And like I said, most certainly these two teams definitely came through here. Stay Green not only taking the series 3-2, they are still remaining as the Kings here for the King of the Hill. So that's a 2-game winning streak they have going now. So rising that prize pool for them a little bit more. And then going to be going to the third week. We'll see if they can defend their crown once again. As far as BMG is concerned, that's going to be the end of it for them for this week. And obviously they will be ineligible going into next week once again because of the rules and whatnot. But still a fun match, and hey, Stay Green also broke the Hellborn curse there.
Yeah.
I guess the Legion curse technically is. Hellborn was 4-0, and final game, though, Legion team wins. Go figure. Stay Green takes it, so. Insania, any final words, final thoughts here on this series? Any shout-outs or anything, really?
I mean, it was a good series to watch. The first 4 games, definitely some quality Han, and If you guys missed it, make sure to go check them out. They were really good games, and we had some huge plays in some of them. It was nice to see Stay Green go back to kind of their old school lineups, and
Yeah.
I feel like after that win with the Warbeast and Drunken Master, they just really started working again as a team, and they haven't really been looking that strong in scrims, and now suddenly it looks like they're back in shape, so it's nice to see. We're going to have 3 really strong teams in Thailand.
Definitely are. So, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, and speaking of that again, not exactly sure what's going to be going on for this weekend and whatnot. There is an event going on as far as I think it's the 7 Virtues Cup that is happening. So definitely check out that. I think it actually even started today. Anyways, as far as our next coverage, I'll keep you guys updated. Stay tuned to the Facebook and the Twitter and whatnot of podcasts, of course, as well as the website. But of course, King of the Hill at the very least will definitely